There's 3 changes to UFC 308 on the weekend. Justin Tafa was removed from his heavyweight bout with Kennedy and Nzechukwu, replacing Tafa's Chris Barnett. Nursultan Ruzabov removed from the welterweight bout with Renat Fakhretdinov. Replacing Ruzabov will be former LFA welterweight champion Carlos Leal. And Daniel Santos is out of his fight with Said Nurmagomedov. That bantamweight fight is off, but the UFC is looking for a replacement for Santos. There's a few people who are interested in that fight. One of them is Jake Hadley, who fought over the weekend, and he wants to fight Saturday too. Was originally training for a wrestling-based opponent over the weekend, so give me a call then. He was not able to adjust to the non-wrestling based opponent, Cameron Smotherman. Smotherman won a unanimous decision. Former UFC fighter Sadykhub Kakhramonov also wants that fight. I want my rematch. Everyone knows he got lucky with that choke. Nurmagomedov beat him by choke in the UFC. I don't know if lucky is the right word, but Kakhramonov was doing very well in that fight. And it was surprising that he got caught after that fight. He looked good in that fight, and he had a record of 2-1 in the UFC.
I'm trying to fight Saeed on Saturday. We'll see. We'll see what the day holds. We'll see. I put my name in the cap. That's all I can do. All I can do is tell them I'm here. I'm in Vegas. I got all my bags packed. I got my passport. All I need is get the sign out by the doctor because I fought on Saturday. I'm healthy. Let's get it. We at the PI. We still in Vegas. Let's see what happens. We feeling good. We looking good. No injuries from the fight. It's a different weight class, so it's a different matchmaker, and it's a lot of business to be handled. Let's make it happen. Passport already. It's always with me. Yeah, that's what's crazy. I take my passport everywhere. I'll be ready. No, I don't think anything that happens with Saeed will affect me at flyweight. It may slow down our momentum just a tad bit, but not really. It's 135. All risk, all money in. I'm going to get a top 15 regardless if I take this fight or not. I'm top 15. It don't change me at flyweight. And I'll get a top 15 opponent next. I've already got a couple names offered to me. So y'all will see that soon. Anybody I want in the rankings, whoever put me closer to the title, I want Kaikar France. I think Kaikar France put me right there in title contention. I thought both the Kais should have fought each other. I think that would have been the fight to choose who fights for the title next, and then let Brandon rest, and then have Brandon fight the winner. Brandon fight the loser, winner, whatever. Let Brandon rest a little bit and come in for the title next year. I thought that made a lot of sense, but you know, it's an exciting fight with Kai Asakura and Pantoja, so we'll see.
That's the main card for Saturday. A couple undefeated fighters on the main card. Taporia in the main event, as well as Lerone Murphy, who takes on Dan Ige. Also undefeated, but on the prelims, there's Shara Bullet Magomedov, who takes on Armin Petrosian. Jack Della Maddalena teasing a fight with Kamaru Usman at UFC 312 in Sydney. That's the fight to make. They're both at the top of the rankings, haven't fought each other, and the only guys at the top who are not booked to fight. So Maddalena's coming off a win over Gilbert Burns via KO. He was just a minute away from losing, though, a decision. So to his credit, he needed a stoppage, and he made it happen. Glory Kickboxing has some interest in doing Rico Verhoeven versus Francis Ngannou. Ngannou will probably make a lot more money boxing someone like Deontay Wilder, so it probably won't happen. Bellator middleweight champion Johnny Eblen criticizes Cowboy Cerrone for wanting to return to fighting after admitting to using steroids while retired. He thinks it gives him an unfair advantage, and also questions the integrity of the sport if you allow fighters to cycle on and off PEDs. Probably won't be an issue though, because Dana White doesn't want Cerrone fighting, not because of steroids, he just doesn't want him taking more damage. He seems to think Cowboy might be broke, so he'll give him a job doing something at the UFC, random stuff like Forrest Griffin does a bunch of random stuff with the UFC, like catching power slappers from falling on the ground and stopping Strickland from killing Sneeko at the PI. Raul Rosas Jr. looks like an unfinished Mexican version of Mr. Potato Head. Yeah, I could see a good fighter though, especially for his age, coming off a unanimous decision win over Ariki Lang. Going into the fight, I thought he was going to get a stoppage, but Ariki Lang's a tough vet and he hung in there, but Rosas Jr. showed a little less urgency in that fight to get a finish than he normally does. No women's fight on UFC 308. Those Arabs don't play around. I like that no nonsense. Only warriors fighting. In the past, they had women's fights on UFC cards in Abu Dhabi, but maybe they changed their mind. At the Saudi Arabia card, though, in June, they did not have any women's fights on that card. Maybe someone will ask Dana White about it at the UFC press conference in Abu Dhabi. Maybe he'll give a straight answer, maybe a BS one, or maybe he'll just get enraged. But that makes it a good question to ask, and someone should ask him about the rankings meeting last week. He discussed the possibility of AI taking over the rankings. No thanks, we don't need AI coming into the MMA world.
I can already imagine the conspiracy theories about Dana programming the AI to favor his favorites.
Oh, absolutely. The Dana's puppet theory is a big one. A lot of fans are skeptical that any AI will truly be objective, believing it will ultimately reflect Dana's biases, just like they accuse the current system of doing.
Opening up a DM with T-City.
Look, I gave you a fucking chance. I saw that you had posted saying you were going through some shit, getting surgery, whatever the fuck, nigga. Time's up now, bitch.
This is part 2.
Tell me you fucking love me, or I'ma fly out to wherever the fuck you is right now, T-City, and I'ma diddle your little ass, boy. You ain't never been in a fucking cage with a nigga like me before, nigga. I'ma pull down them briefs and... Tell me you fucking love me, or I'ma fly out to wherever the fuck you is right now, T-City, and I'ma diddle your little ass, boy.
Since the introduction of new UFC gloves 6 months ago, knockouts and TKOs have gone down 10.3% in the UFC. That doesn't necessarily mean that's the cause of the decrease, but knockouts have gone down since the new gloves have been introduced 10.3%. When the new UFC gloves were introduced, people were expecting a redesign to be focused on prevention of eye pokes, but that wasn't the case at all. And I don't think there's been a big decrease in eye pokes. There's been a ton of them over the past 6 months. So much so that in recent events, right off the bat, the first fight of the card, referees are yelling at fighters, fingers, 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 telling them not to extend their fingers to poke their opponents in the eyes. And in the fight with Jake Hadley over the weekend, referee Chris Tognoni actually took away a point from Jake Hadley for an accidental eye poke, which is very rare for a first offense that's accidental. It's very rare for a first offense that's intentional. But if referees started doing that, there'd be definitely a huge drop in eye pokes, a huge drop in fence grabs. If point deductions were done immediately for every foul, they'd soon become pretty much a thing of the past. But for a brief period of time, the UFC would play out like a basketball game where there's a foul called every few seconds, and there'd be a massive amount of point deductions every fight card. Fighters would end up winning unanimous decisions 7-6, 7-6, 8-5. Because they got deducted over 20 points, but eventually people would stop cheating in the cage.